Well, a very good morning to you. Welcome. You're watching News Center right here on KTN News. My name is Jesse Rogers. Thank you for making time. We take a look at some of the developing stories from across the country. And a little bit later on, we'll be joined by a member of the House Business Committee just to take a look at the in-tray for Parliament in regards to the standoff that we saw last week in terms of the constitution of the House Business Committee. Just yesterday, it was fully constituted and it's all systems go. So we'll take a look at this particular sixth and final session of the 12th Parliament, what to expect as members of Parliament convene to legislate and oversight as well. But let's begin on climate matters this time round, where besides the November and December short rains in northern Kenya, many parts of the region are experiencing drought. The situation is said to be worsening day by day and has now significantly hampered crops and livestock. Areas mostly affected are Marsabit, Habeswein in Wajir and Ijara in Garissa. KTN News' Hamza Yusuf with that report.
For many generations, pastoral communities have lived off the land, taking pride in attending their herd of cattle while changing the age-old traditions. Customs that portray their heritage and define their identity. According to 2019 census, Kenya is home to at least 8.8 million pastoralists residing in over 15 counties, a larger percentage of whom depend on livestock for economic sustenance. But the growing impact of climate change is now threatening their way of life. And a train of other calamities, including the May 2019 locust invasion that lasted for 2 running years, shattering the resilience of pastoral communities in arid and semi-arid regions. But things took a turn for the worse when projected rain in October and December of 2020 failed, further worsening the fortune of pastoral communities. The crisis has been felt and witnessed in 6 constituencies across Garissa County, like Dera, Ijara, Fafi, Balambala, Dadaab, and Garissa Township. But the situation in Ijara sub-county is topping critical level, as confirmed by the National Drought Management Authority.
The drought at the moment, according to our drought bulletin, we are almost going to the alarm stage of the drought cycle, and it is really biting. So we are calling upon all the stakeholders that we come together and work so that we can save those lives and livelihoods.
As witnessed in this homestead, where 60 years old Mahmoud Sheikh, once a prosperous herder with over 300 goats in his possession, now reduced to poverty. He only has 50 goats left, and daily he is forced to choose between keeping his family alive and feeding his few remaining livestock. A piece of wheat flour is now divided between his starving children and a handful of goats left alive.
Ambaye haitoshi lakini ni vile tu ile kulingana na nguvu, hatuna budi, hatuna la kufanya isipokuwa ni ile kiasi ambayo tunaweza saidia hiyo. Karibu sasa for the last 6 months tuko na hiyo.
Feeding goats and children at the same time is not only expensive, but a very tough job. His neighbor Miraj Hassan has not been spared. Just a week ago, several of his goats succumbed to drought, forcing him to emulate Muhammad by cooking with flour for his thinning herd.
Tuko na shida ya maji, na area hii maji hakuna. Maji natoka Tana River. Na mtungi mmoja tunanunua shilingi 50. Na hakuna kazi nyingine hapa tunafanya.
Kwa kisima. Tafadhali naomba.
Several kilometers from here is the village of Galmagala. Here, a good Samaritan is appealing to well-wishers to help him rescue buffalo. He says that about 6 more corpses have been discovered today. The situation has forced a large number of school-going children out of classrooms as their families migrate in search of water and pasture for their livestock.
Primary school, yeah.
Kofa Juma, a school principal, asserts that majority of his students did not resume their studies for the 3rd term. This situation is not only isolated to this village, but can be documented across multiple schools in Turkana, Samburu, Wajir, Mandera, and Isiolo.
Wale wengine hata watoto yao wameenda naye mpaka shule sahi, kiasi ya watoto wewe pia hata nikupeleka utashangaza, kuna glasi ingine hata hakuna watoto.
It's not just schools that have been affected. The recently concluded voter registration exercise suffered a huge setback due to prevailing drought situation in the region. The current drought, which President Kenyatta declared as a national disaster, has not only affected the ASAL counties but also 2 million Kenyans. A month later, on October 13th, the government set aside 1.2 billion for drought relief. The government spokesperson Cyrus Oguna said that the funds will be used to cash on families in drought-stricken areas.
Hakuna msaada yote inakuja kwa kijiji, msaada ya gombe, msaada ya binadamu. Sasa wengine wametoroka.
Many of these families are now looking for well-wishers and good Samaritans for help, with the promise of government aid yet to arrive, or too small to make a difference.
Well-wishers, government and non-government organizations, tunaomba ili watukuje watuokoe kwa vile wakati hii mfumo unaona hakuna milisho wanaenda.
Hamza Yusuf, KTN News.
Well, our reporter Hamza Yusuf right there highlighting the plight of those residents who've been affected by the ongoing drought. Let's shift focus to politics right now, where the Kenya Kwanza coalition principals Musalia Mudavadi and his